Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. It's great to have your company and thank you very much for joining the football family on a regular basis. If you hit the subscribe button and you also hit the bell, you'll get all the notifications of our unique video content which arrives on a 7-day basis with great regularity, and so many of you have been consuming not only our breaking football news but of course our unique content with regards to David Martindale, Alex McLeish, John McMaster, Neil Lennon, Scott Brown. It's all there, trying to bring you as many bits of good programming that you'll enjoy over the course of 7 days. And if you download the app, you get all the breaking football news as well. And thank you to so many people who have mentioned to us, Ruffy, near and far. I was up at Aberdeen last night. The amount of Aberdonians who thoroughly enjoy tuning into the programme as well, just mentioning, you know, we're getting bigger and better and they're thoroughly enjoying the content.
Yeah, good for them in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, everything's happening up at Aberdeen. They've had a good hit of the documentaries that you've done and the interviews and everything. So, no, everything's swinging towards Aberdeen, particularly their own club as well.
Yeah, and the Gothenburg greats will be at Pittodrie for Aberdeen against Hibs. We were up there for the gala night and all the guys were there. Archie Knox was there, obviously Sir Alex couldn't make it, but he sent a lovely message and the place was absolutely bouncing, Tam, and to see them all there, the camaraderie, that family feel about them, and Willie Miller, Alex McLeish, Strachan, Black, I mean it was like a who's who of top draw footballers.
Yeah, I think when you achieve something like Aberdeen achieved 40 years ago, you know, that bond will never leave them. I think that you know, to go and win a European trophy for Aberdeen, something that will never be repeated, is they're absolute legends, and I bet you they still, you know, they can't believe it's 40 years ago. I bet you they still think it was last year, you know, and brilliant for Aberdeen, brilliant for the city, and you know, these guys will be remembered forever. You know, in 100 years' time they'll be still remembered. So, no, you know, hats off to them. I think that it's probably the best Aberdeen that there's ever been and will ever be.
Yeah, it's a good point you made there. I think a lot of people were looking on with great affection and nostalgia to all the boys. I think the only sad thing about it was, you know, the one person that they would love to have had, obviously Sir Alex, but also Neil Cooper. But there was a lovely fitting tribute to Neil Cooper on the night. But over and above that, the banter between them. And Joe Harper was asking for you, Ruffy, because you and him were as thick as thieves, weren't you?
Yeah, it was me got Joe to Argentina. You know, we played Aberdeen 4 times before the pool was picked, and I think he scored about 20 goals.
I love the way you've slanted that story to do him right.
No, we did. We went about together. Me, Joe, and Big Derek Johnson. That was a gruesome threesome in Argentina. Good pals, but you're right. You know, they were all. Whenever you went to play Aberdeen, you could see there was a right, group. You know, they were all fighting in the right direction and a lot of humour. You mentioned Neil Cooper there, who was hilarious. But wee Joe would have something to do with that as well. And of course, Jim Leighton's a riot.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. It's not exactly the word I think I would be looking for. But he was funny last night, I have to tell you. Lots of the boys, their patter was absolutely sensational. Hi to Gary Connor, who's out there in Portland, Maine. Howdy PLZ team, Bob Miller. Thank you to Earl, Lee, Stephen, and so many, James and Hugh and Paul Brady. Lots of people. Paddy Devlin says, afternoon guys, I absolutely love the show. Chris Andrews says, Gothenburg boys rule. I don't think you would have had too many dissenters on that, to be perfectly honest with you. So thank you very much. And Alan says, it's beautiful down here on the Ayrshire coast. Well, there you are. If it is like that and it's regular, we usually head down to the Ayrshire coast on holidays, Ruffy.
Brilliant, yep, on a game of golf.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you two do anyway. Okay, here's the quiz question. Who was the last recipient of the PFA Manager of the Year out with the top 2 tiers? There's a belter question. Who was the last recipient of PFA?
No, I don't know.
PFA
the top
Manager
2 tiers,
of the
right?
Year.
I've got to say Stevie Clark, but
yeah. Out with the top 2 tiers, the last recipient of the PFA Manager of the Year.
One springs to mind.
Right.
Dick Campbell.
Okay, give us your answer. We'll give you the correct answer at the end of the programme. That's our quiz question. And as far as nominees are concerned, all in the running for the Manager of the Year, it was revealed this morning from PFA Scotland. Here it is. And it's Ange Postecoglou, Stephen Robinson, James McPake and Darren Young are the nominees. What do you make of that, Ruffy?
Well, 3 obviously league winners. You know, you like to congratulate them for the seasons they've had, and I'm sure the supporters would like to see their manager, you know, getting it. You know, obviously the St Mirren manager's done particularly well, but I think if Ange wins the treble, there can only be one winner. You know that, and everybody says, "Oh, he's got this and he's got that." But I mean, to manage a team like Rangers and Celtic, the pressures is there just the same.
Yeah.
You've got to win trophies. You know, so I wouldn't take that away from them because they've got everything in front of them. Give it to him. Style of football's been exciting, and obviously they could win the treble.
Well, it is all about opinions, but it's not our opinion. It's actually the managers, because all the managers right across all the divisions, they cast their own vote.
Yeah, and I think that's the one you want to win rather than you know, the sports writers or whatever. I think it's, you know, getting that from your peers, you know, your own different managers and different teams. I think it would be a brilliant accolade to get. I agree with Ruffy. I think Ange Postecoglou should be nailed on to win this. I think they'll win the treble, beating Inverness, and you know, the pressure's on Celtic all the time, and the style of play is, you know, it's great to watch for a neutral. You know, they always have a go home and away, and no, I think, you know, James McPake's been excellent, won the league with Dunfermline. Darren Young has got to have a good shout for it as well, because I don't think Stirling Albion were amongst the favourites to win that league. I think they've done really well this season, but it's got to be Ange Postecoglou for me.
Yeah, okay, you can give us your view on that. And of course, we did have James McPake in the studio. Darren Young, also one of our guests in the last 2 or 3 weeks, so it just gives you an indication that we try and cover as many football clubs, players and managers on this show. 7 days a week. It's absolutely free to watch. It's uncensored, unbiased, unmatched. And right across Scottish football, we are giving you as an extensive coverage, Ruffy, right across all the divisions, and of course bringing in special guests. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, it's fantastic. The thing I like about it now, we have now people out at the grounds, you know, doing the interviews, you know, keeping everybody in touch up until the games on the Saturday. So yeah, if you're listening to the show, you know where your club's going and what players are fit and what is actually happening.
Yeah, and you're in tomorrow for our...
yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Tam is not going to be with us. And you are the late last minute sub. Will you be wearing the chinos from 1984?
No, I was going to ask if it's really nice tomorrow. Which is good. Am I allowed shorts? Am I allowed shorts on a Saturday?
You should do you want, Ruffy.
Only if it's sunny, because I wore them yesterday. I had to apologise. You know,
I tuned in yesterday.
It wasn't sunny at all, and I had shorts on. It looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like Victor Meldrew.
Yeah.
His knees.
Absolutely.
Horrific. Horrible.
A lot of people do complain when you wear shorts, Ruffy. A lot of people just complain in general. One thing before we start to get into the games at the weekend, Rangers legend John Greig will pick up a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Scottish Football Riders on May 28th. 700 appearances, 5 titles, 6 Scottish Cups, 4 League Cups, captained the Barcelona Bears to victory over Moscow Dynamo or Dynamo Moscow, depending on which generation you come from. That 1972 Cup Winners' Cup side, just like the Gothenburg greats, you know, a great bunch of guys who achieved something which was absolutely sensational in 1972, and they'll never be forgotten. Yeah,
like, even way back then, you know, when I started playing in the 70s, he was a legend then. You know, he was somebody who was everybody. If you spoke about Rangers, you spoke about John Greig. You know, that's how much he was to Rangers Football Club, and to get a statue outside is even better. You know, it just shows you how well liked he is. I'm sure he's in the Rangers all-time team as well, you know, but I mean, great guy, great humour, good golfer as well, you know, over at Lenzie Golf Course, and no, it's great. I like when you go at the awards and some people like that get it. It just makes it a lot more meaningful.
Yeah, he was, I mean, apart from being a great player and what you would class as your stereotypical captain, a leader as well. The award, you know, the accolades that he's won, the medals that he's won as well, makes him, and he's also voted greatest ever Rangers player. I found him particularly funny when I was a younger reporter, because he's held every job at Rangers, by the way. Believe me, he's been the manager, he was the player, the captain, and then they made him head, but they made him head of the PR dealing with the press, and that for me was the funniest time, because Greggy dealing with the press was just a no-no. And if you asked him for a player and he went, "Oof, no, you're not getting him, son," What do you want him for? Don't be silly. You're not. And he'd give you the most outrageous reason, but it was so funny the way he put it across. And if you thought you were good with your one-liners, he came back with one better.
Yeah, well, obviously I've only seen videos of John Greig. He was before my time, but I always seen him when I was going to Ibrox and playing, whether it was for Hibs or Falkirk or Dunfermline or whoever I was playing when we went to Ibrox. You always seen him. You know, if you're up at the lounges after the game, you know, if you were in and about the dressing room, you always seen him, you know, welcoming people in at the door or whatever. And absolute Mr. Rangers, you know, a proper legend. And I think he thoroughly deserves this. Not before time. The sports writers, he'll get his day in the sun amongst all his peers, you know, writers who have voted him in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I right in saying he scored the winner against Italy for Scotland?
Yes.
1-0.
Yep. And of course, I think we missed out on making it to that championships, but he definitely scored that winner. Yeah, great times, great players, and of course him and Billy McNeil, great adversaries, but also friends away from the field as well. Which brings us nicely to the last Old Firm game of the season on Saturday, early kick-off. Rangers against Celtic. Celtic, first game since being confirmed champions at Ibrox in front of 50,000 home fans, no away fans at the game. We've all said our piece on it till I think our heads are going to explode, Ruffy. I hope they sort it out before the start of next season. I have my doubts. But over and above that, I don't know how it gathered pace. I went up to Aberdeen the other day there, and then suddenly I saw yesterday there will be no guard of honour, and I thought somebody's thrown that story out again. It always rears its ugly head. Who cares? Nobody should. I didn't anticipate that, and I don't think it's a.
Oh, I don't think anybody cares. I don't think if Rangers weren't to do it,
something for the fans. It's a big deal. Isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a noise up.
It's a noise up, I think, you know. But when you see it down in England, it is a good gesture, you know, when they do it down there.
Yeah.
If they do it down there, and whenever they do it. But it's not going to happen at a Rangers Celtic game. There's too much. There's too much at stake there, particularly being at Ibrox and being a full house of Rangers supporters. So I don't think it went down particularly well. So no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. If you beat me at tennis, Ruffy, in a doubles match, I wouldn't even give you a guard of honour. So what chance have we got with it?
Exactly.
These two?
We don't have to worry about that.
No, it's not going to happen, Peter. It's just a wind up among supporters.
Yeah.
And you know, listen, we all know how, you know, a bit of rival Celtic Rangers. It's never going to happen. It can happen in England. It can happen up here with different teams. I know Alloa done it to Rangers, or Rangers done it to somebody years ago, and it always springs to mind.
Yeah.
But maybe it was Hearts, I can't remember. But you know, that's not going to happen in a Celtic Rangers game. And
not with 50,000 fans.
With 50,000,
no away supporters.
50,000. It's not going to happen. I remember doing it. I was at Ayr United. We were playing in Inverness. Terry Butcher was the manager in Inverness, and we were fighting for our lives at the bottom. And Brian Reid, our manager, says, right, we're giving him a guard on and all that, and we've been nice to them, and the whole build-up was because we want them just to be off it, you know, and you need the points. They'd won the league, and we gave them a guard on and all that. Well done, and Terry Butcher, brilliant, and all that. We beat 7-0. And I thought, it'd be nice if we'll give you a wee guard of honour.
Have you noticed something, Ruffy, that all of his stories and anecdotes all end in disaster? Honestly, you should be a script writer for a movie. Everything ends with a negative. Listen, as far as negative statistics are concerned, it's 1 draw and 3 defeats for Michael Beale. He hasn't won any of those 4 games against Celtic. He needs to try and put something right. I wonder, will the foot be off the gas for Celtic, or will they want to prove a point?
No, I think they want to prove a point. I think they want to go. Ange keeps talking about records, most points won, most goals scored. You know, they'll go into that game, obviously want to win it, as you do most of these games, these Rangers Celtic games. You want to be a winner. I just get a feeling, you know, if Celtic were to lose it, it's not the end of the world. Bigger prizes to go for, Scottish Cup, trebles. You know, if Rangers win it, sends away the fans happy for next season, you know, and looking forward to next season. You know, they'll forget about everything that's went in the past, and if they were to beat Celtic, that would be something they would look forward to. If they don't win it, you know, it'll be interesting to see what the Rangers' reaction is, and the supporters, particularly with 50,000 being there. I don't think it'll go down particularly well.
Yeah, Adam Binney was out there at the Rangers training centre.
Thanks, Peter. I'm outside of the Rangers training centre as Rangers take on Celtic tomorrow afternoon in the final Old Firm derby of the season. Speaking to the manager, he says that he's since made up with Alfredo Morelos after last week calling out the striker for not having enough energy when he came on the pitch and that having a negative effect on the team. But he says, yeah, they've since made up and the player is ready and available for selection tomorrow.
No, fine. Alfredo, he's quite robust. You know, he's lived and worked in Scotland for 5 or 6 years. A lot worse has been said about Alfredo in that time than I felt he could have made a more positive impact. He's fine. Like, you know, we talk, we get on. He's trained well this week. He's available for selection. He's a Rangers player until he moves on. And so, no, there's no drama there with me and Alfredo whatsoever.
Celtic clinched the title at Tynecastle last week, but there'll be no guard of honour for the champions when they come out the tunnel at Ibrox tomorrow. Midfielder Todd Cantwell explained the reason as to why he thinks it's not a good idea.
To be honest, I think with the rivalry, I can't imagine them doing that for us. So, I mean, like I say, I don't know, but I can't imagine that's happened. So, I would probably suggest they wouldn't. Yeah, absolutely. I think Todd's only been here a short period of time, but he gets it.
Yeah, Celtic wouldn't do it for Rangers, so Rangers not going to do it for Celtic. It's just a wind-up among supporters. They want to see their opposition humiliated, and that's what it's all about, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, okay. Rangers, it looks as if I get the sense from Michael Beale and the activity, there's no smoke without fire, Ruffy. There's a fair few names flying about now. Obviously, Chelsea defender Dujon Sterling linked with a move, getting closer. Also, Jack Butland and midfielder Kieran Dowell. That suggests to me that Michael Beale in the next couple of weeks will want people in quickly so that he suddenly has a new squad ready for, June, certainly July. I think he should have the majority of the players that he wants in.
Yeah, well, the ones that you're talking about now are the ones that are all out of contract. They're all freedom of contract. So it looks as if, to me, he's protecting his budget. He's protecting his budget to go for a couple of big ones. Millions. So he's trying to see how many he can get now out of contract. It's only be the wages, and then if he's got a healthy budget there, he could maybe push the boat out a wee bit and get a couple of better ones.
It's interesting they're going to sign a right back, Peter. Is that James Tavernier's, I'm not saying Rangers' career, but is that somebody that's going to put pressure onto him? I think he's been needing it. I don't think there's been that much pressure on bar Nathan Patterson when he came in. I don't think there's been any pressure at all on Tavernier's position, I think, defensively. So they're signing the boy Dijon Sterling. Let's hope he can cut the mustard.
Yeah, okay. Two lager, want to chase it for Tam. All right, up the back. Tam always likes to get one in, Ruffy. I'll fire a few.
I don't mind some good ones.
There's a few more to go before the end of the season, by the way. We could do a full collection of them. And the good thing about it is he still gets the same reaction every time he does it. We just look at him as if to say, and that's rubbish. Well, listen. I think the other key issue here that Rangers fans will be looking at, yes, I think you're right, Ruffy, they'll be looking at a few frees, maybe a couple of loans thrown in there for good measure, and then, as you say, if they can get a sprinkling of Stardust signings in there to get the fans really excited. Plus, of course, there might be a situation where maybe you would hope one, possibly, of the youngsters could maybe suddenly come into the equation. It would be nice to see a homegrown youngster come in.
Well, the only ones we have seen are the boy Devine. And if Partick was to go, that you'd expect him to get a chance, but we don't really know how good he is. We saw Patterson when he was given a chance, he really came on, so they have high hopes for Devine. So, like any other young player, you need to start playing them, you need to give them game time, you need to see how good they are in the pressure games. So he would be one. Lowry seems to have just fell out of it a wee bit, with all the midfielders that Beale's been signing, so he's got a decision to make as well. He might have to go out and loan somewhere, and get game time, because it looks as if the majority of players that Beale's signing are midfielders.
Yeah, it'll be, of course, the excitement will be all around the players that are coming in. There'll be a few players going out that I think it'll be quite emotional for some Rangers fans looking back on. I mean, we anticipate Alan McGregor. That'll be an emotional one. Stephen Davis, I think, might hang up his boots as well. But I think Scott Arfield's contribution to Rangers has been good, especially in the title-winning season.
Yeah, I think there's big decisions to be made, and I was reading this morning. you need to keep some experienced players in Celtic Rangers. You know, you can't just have a blanket, you just get rid of everybody. You know, because you need people that are there that know the pressures of Rangers and they can pass it on. You know, if you bring in 9 or 10 new players, you know, it takes a while to gel, but when you've got guys like an Arfield or a Davis in there, you know, they can get their point across to the players come in saying, listen, our draw's not good enough. You know, we've got to win every single game. That's the demands here. And you know, players coming from smaller clubs might think, "Oh, our draw's fine," but it's not fine at Celtic Rangers. We've got to win every week. So, I think McGregor will be away, and I think Davis will be away, but they might try and maybe keep him as a coach. I don't see them two being there. Arfield's one for me, who I would give another year to. I think that he's still got a lot to offer. He comes on as a sub. He contributes. You know, we can't forget his contribution up at Aberdeen when he came on and won the game for Rangers. So, yeah. I think that he's still got a bit to offer, and he's still fit enough to have something to offer. But I think you need a couple of them. Ryan Jack looks as if he's going to be staying as well. I think you need 2 or 3 in there that just know your goals and maybe Tavernier that know the demands that are on you at Rangers, rather than just going, right, you're 33, you're 34, you're out the door. You know, I think you've got to keep some of them.
Yeah. As far as the opposition is concerned, it's an interesting statistic that Ange Postecoglou will be chasing. He could be only the 3rd manager in Celtic's history to beat Rangers 5 times in a season. Martin O'Neill and Brendan Rodgers the other 2.
Well, every time he goes on record, you know, that's what his objective is, to have a CV that's breaking the records of these 2 managers that you're talking about, you know, and if he starts beating Brendan Rodgers and Martin's records, then he's going places, and it means, you know, he is going to be etched into the record books as well. So there's a lot of targets to go for, and he'll be looking at that as well.
I think Ange Postecoglou just trying to take the sting out of this one, saying if it was obviously to win the league, you know, the hype for this one would be through the roof, but not as much now.
I think if we were going there tomorrow to win it, there probably would have been a little bit more, you know, hype around it. So, you know, I think from that perspective, it doesn't feel sort of as intense in terms of the build-up to the game, but I don't think that will diminish the game itself. I still think the game will still have, you know, all the elements you expect in a derby game, so I don't think that'll be any different.
And a well-kent face in James Forrest will return to the squad. Aaron Moy maybe touch and go, but there will be, I think maybe 1 or 2 changes that he will make for this one.
Yeah, I think he'll maybe have a look at a couple of players. I think that he'll know what his squad is going to be for next season, who's going to be there. I think James, you know, it could be a farewell for him. I think that in terms of James Forrest, you know, he's been there all his career. I don't think he's going to get a lot of game time next season. I think Celtic will look to strengthen the wide areas again. So again, he could be another maybe a year. You know, maybe just a good squad player, handy to have about the dressing room for new players to come in.
Were you surprised by the comments about Abada? I mean, Lil Abada, the nominees for the Player and Young Player of the Year out at the Arnold Clark Innovation Centre, mentioned the fact, he said, look, they can talk about me leaving, I'm happy here.
Yeah, and sometimes it can just be paper talk, it can be maybe agents talk, and social media, you know, plays a huge role, you know, in the media nowadays. So listen, if he's happy at Celtic, then he's happy at Celtic, you know, but we've seen with Giakoumakis, there's no smoke without fire. I think when you've seen, you know, the contract situation, I think Abada's done really, really well at Celtic. I'm sure his agent's in the chat my door and saying, listen, any chance of a new deal, more money, you know, I think he deserves it with his performances and his goals and his assists. So as long as he's happy, then I think, you know, I don't think he's going to play every week, Peter, and that's the thing. I think Ange Postecoglou's got a system where maybe 4 or 5 will play every week. You know, Carter Vickers, you know, McGregor, the goalkeeper, but he does rotate his front line a lot, and I think if you're a player, that can be frustrating if you get and play well one week and score, then you find yourself out the team the next week just because he wants to rotate and keep people fresh. So maybe that's a frustration from Abada that he's not playing every week, he's not getting into a rhythm. And maybe he wants to go somewhere and play every week, I don't know, but if he's saying he's happy at Celtic, we've got to take him for his word for that.
Yeah, of course Celtic linked with yet another Japanese player, this time Ryotaro Ito, a midfielder, obviously playing well in the Japanese J2 league. But Ange Postecoglou and probably Celtic looking at that market and thinking they can get, you know, players that are going to buy into his ethos, the way he wants the team to play, and of course there's going to be a sell-on value for undoubtedly 1 or 2 of them that's going to be tasty roughy as the next season or 2 progresses.
Yeah, well, if Ange thinks there's players out there who are better than what he's got, then you've got to buy into it, because the majority of the ones that have come over have been absolutely sensational. So if this is another one, you know, well done to him. You know, obviously the fans will buy into that because they've seen the quality that he's brought over here. He seems to have a tapped market over there. I saw him in the paper saying that if anybody else fancies going over there and trying to get players for that league, then they have to get by us, because we've got first shout and most of the good players.
Yeah.
So he's made a mark there, you know, that he's looking after the Japanese players that come over here. They're obviously going on tour next year to Japan. You know, that'll again, you know, be good for the relationship between all the clubs over there as well. So yeah, if he's as good as Hatate and Kyogo and Maeda, and you know, why not delve into it? It would be interesting to see if anybody else does.
Yeah. What are you going for, Tam, and why?
I think it's one of the most damp squib Old Firm games that I can remember. I don't think anybody's really looking at this as if to say, you know, there's something on it. You know, and I think Rangers will want to win the game probably more than Celtic. I think to prove a point that they can beat Celtic. I think there's no pressure on Celtic whatsoever going into the game. They've won the league, you know, and I think that could make them a dangerous animal as well. So I'm going to sit in the fence. I think there'll be goals in this, Peter. I can see both teams, you know, really going at it, hammer and tongs, and I'm going to go for 2 each.
2 each?
I'm going to go for 2 each.
That's funny you're saying that. I've gone for a 1-1 in it. I think it'll be a draw.
Yeah.
Depends if Celtic play with the intensity that they've been playing at. I think they could possibly win the game, but there's surely going to be a drop-off of the intensity from winning the league last week, I would think.
Yeah, I think the games that they have played have been tight. There's no doubt about that. You can't get away from it. There's not a massive gap in a one-off game. Rangers have gave it as good a shout as Celtic, but Celtic have just had the big players in the big games to come up with the goals, like Kyogo. I think because Johnson and Cameron Vickers aren't playing is a wee bit an advantage to Rangers. But I still am like you know, I still think Celtic have got it within them to get something out of the game, and I think that something would be 1 each.
Okay, 3 draws. Wow, that's very unusual on this one. But okay, give us your thoughts on it. What do you think the score's going to be and why? Johnny thinks 3-2 to Rangers. Errol thinks Celtic 3-0. Brian thinks it's going to be 3-3. There has been a 3-3 before. I seem to remember if the 3-3 that I'm thinking about, Gordon Dalziel scored for Rangers in it. There's a memory, Ruffy? And of course the best Old Firm game I've ever seen 4-4. That was a high scoring draw was 4-4, because that was it was a rain sodden pitch. I think Willie McStay gets sent off. McCoist scored a classic, what I call daisy cutter goal in it. Cammy Fraser and Tommy Burns.
That must have been, was that 80s?
Yeah, 4-4, and both sides get applauded off the pitch, which was rare at the best of times, Ruffy. It's very rare you get that.
No, there's no loser, is there? So let's just smile at everybody and just get off.
And of course, due to the fact of your skullduggery at the time when you couldn't put yourself forward for a big Old Firm game, I think there was one game in particular at Ibrox, I remember, where the Rangers fans, I think, applauded Ian Andrews off the park because it was 5-1.
You the bench that day, Ruffy?
No, he had the chance to play, but he just welched out. Come on.
If it was a story about the 5-1 game, give us a story, give the viewers the true story.
Is, I was pulled aside by Billy McNeil and said that he wanted to play me because I'd played in a few of the games and Ian had been a wee bit jittery, but they were going to take a chance on Ian. So I played in the reserve game in the morning against Rangers at Ibrox.
The score?
Sorry, at Parkhead. We won 2-1. But in the last 5 minutes of that game, Scott Nisbet decided to knee me in the face and he broke my cheekbone. So while the goals were piling in at Parkhead, I was lying in a hospital bed in Ross Hall.
Right.
So I wasn't at the game.
But of course, the one thing I was going to say to you, Ruffy, on that day, because you were an experienced goalkeeper, you should have said, look, Billy, I'm here, I'm ready to play. He's a wee bit jittery.
I think if you said that, he'd have played you, big Billy.
I've been rooming with Ian and I've put the fear of God into him on a regular basis. I think I should play. You should have said that, Ruffy.
No, my only words to Billy was when he made the decision, it was, am I still on the bonus?
So there you are, that's Ruffy's attitude to it. Okay, Aberdeen against Hibs. Sometimes when you get the nostalgia. I mean, the Aberdeen Gothenburg greats have had the freedom of the city today. Last night they had the big gala dinner. Tomorrow they're all guests of Aberdeen up there at Pittodrie, and I'm afraid to say, with nostalgia in the air and this Aberdeen side playing well, I have only one prediction, that Aberdeen will win it. Do you share that view?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go against Hibs here. It's very, very tight at the top in the predictor. I think I need to put my head before my heart, and I think that everything's pointing towards an Aberdeen win. They've been strong at home this season. They're flying under Barry Robson. There's a real good feeling about Aberdeen at the minute as a club, as a city, you know, and that's only added to with the Gothenburg heroes coming to the game tomorrow as well. So I think Aberdeen will edge this, and I think they'll edge it 2-1, because I just think a big crowd at Aberdeen, they're on a fantastic run. I thought they were a wee bit unfortunate last week at Rangers. You know, a couple of chances that they missed that could have changed the game, a penalty decision that they never got. So I'm going to go for Aberdeen to win 2-1. Sorry to the Hibs fans.
Yeah, I've got Aberdeen to win this one 2-1 as well. And again, because that momentum's still there, Barry Robson wants to keep it going, and you know, to go to Rangers, and they had 2 or 3 chances as well, Ruffy.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with them defensively. Before, as we know, against Darvel and Hibs and Hearts and that, their defence was shocking. But if you get a chance to watch their defence now, they're very disciplined. They defend in numbers. They all know what they're doing. There's a positivity there, you know, and with the Gothenburg boys being there as well. The fact that Tam's 8 points behind me in the predictor, I'm going 2-1 as well. 2-1 as well. Okay, so you're sticking to everything that he says.
Cheap buy.
It really is.
It's a disgrace.
But that's the nature of it, by the way.
I actually can't win.
No,
just copy all my.
The thing about it is with Ruffy is he comes from a generation where they thought cheating was okay. Now, no surprise, we've had Nicky Devlin in, and I think we did suggest on this programme, you know, a good few weeks ago, I suggested that Aberdeen would be a great move for him. Looks as if it's moving ever closer. Nicky up there at Aberdeen is just, I think it's a great move for him.
I certainly do, but I would like to think that there are other options out there. I would put Hibs and Hearts in that scenario. I'm sure there'll be English clubs who'll be wanting to speak to his agent. He'll be wanting to. He's got a great opportunity for him to make the decision on this one, you know, and we'll just have to wait and see which one he decides to go for.
Yeah, well, we'll find out on Sunday, because I've invited them to our table at the PFA Awards, Ruffy.
All right, so is he drinking?
Eh?
How much drink have we got a game before he cracks?
Well, to be fair,
you haven't had a drink.
Yeah,
where are you going?
There you go. I don't think he's the ultimate professional. Unlike a few that we've invited over the years, Ruffy, to the PFA.
Yeah, we're in a couple of discipline.
Yeah. Still enough about Gary Harkins and Chris Miller.
Aye.
Oh, they two could take a bucket full, by the way. Aye. Good lads, but mental.
Good.
Yeah.
Just there was a moment when it just went.
Yeah,
they just they're throwing rolls at Celtic table.
They'll be getting.
That's shocking.
And in a strange move, Ruffy, they're not coming to our table this year.
It might be somebody's table. So we will be getting the rolls.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, one of your old mates is coming along to the table, Ruffy. I thought I might as well mention to you. Our friends, John Gagan.
Well,
you've got to invite the greatest ever Motherwell team participant.
Yeah, great player, great banter as well, and he was at the table. Unfortunately, he was at the table when Gary and the last time. So
absolutely.
Did he inquire who was at the table before he said, "I'll come"?
No, I did say to him, I've managed to eliminate a few maddies. As far as Aberdeen are concerned, we think they might win it. As far as Hibs are concerned, I think they need to win it because Lee Johnson clearly wants to hunt down Hearts.
We're not going for a draw. I mean, we need to win the game. A draw is a better result for them than it is for us. And that's not a great position to be in. But at the same time, like with that, we believe that we've got attributes to cause them problems, and it'll be a tough game, probably decided on a bit of quality.
Yeah, have they got that quality? What do you make of Youan signing that deal?
Good. I think it's good news for Hibs. I think that at the start of the season I was pretty critical of him, simply because he was getting himself into great positions and not delivering. You know, whether that was a final pass, final cross, final finish. I remember him going through one-on-one at Tynecastle at a crucial time in the game and never scored. But to be fair to him, he's improved. His goal scoring record's been excellent over the last couple of months. you know, in assists, you can see he's now making the right decision in the final third, which I think is important for any forward. So, no, I think that at 23 years old, I think Hibs paid a lot of money for him. You know, I'm hearing 500 grand. You know, that's quite a big outlay for Hibs, but I think they see him as someone, if he keeps improving, you know, and adds more goals and more assists to his game, he's quick, he's got a trick in the book. So I think they think that if he can continue his on an upward trajectory, then they can get big money for him. So I think it could be a shrewd bit of business from Hibs to sign him.
Yeah. Do you think next season's the season where we're actually going to see maybe some of those youngsters that you were talking about forcing them?
Yeah, and Josh O'Connor just signed a new deal with Hibs this morning, which is surprising because I spoke to his dad a couple of weeks ago and he said he wasn't signing. So something must have changed at Hibs, whether he's been offered a better deal or more money, I don't know. But I think that's very, very important for Hibs to secure him. So he's signed, and I think they're putting him out in Airdrie for a year's loan next season. So that's what you want to see. You want to see your good, promising young players coming through at Hibs, and there's a lot of them getting opportunities. So maybe Hibs see him as a longer term project, but I think that's good news for Hibs that Josh has signed a new deal.
Okay, Dundee United against Ross County, and again, if we're talking about games that really do mean something, this is another one. They've got themselves off the bottom, halted last week, of course, against St Johnstone. Dundee United now looking to try and make sure that they can bounce back in front of a sellout at Tannadice.
Yeah, this has to be a win. This definitely has to be a win. When you've got that many supporters, home supporters in the ground, if that was to go the wrong way here, I think it would make Dundee United one of the certainties to be in the bottom two. But if they win it, obviously with that big fan base behind them, you know, it could take them out of the pressure. Yeah. But for me, Ross County, I know they've got the harder of the running and everybody else. They'll be encouraged by that result last week, but I think we've all decided that Livingston aren't playing to the form that they were earlier on in the season, so it's hard to take that one. I just think Dundee United at home with that support have got to win the game, so I think I've went Dundee United 2-0.
2-0. I mean, it's absolutely tight down there, and I think from Jim Goodwin's perspective, he's trying to put a positive spin on everything, especially when you consider what Dundee United, what state they were in when he got there.
The position that we're in now prior to the Hibs game, at this stage of the season, then I don't think there'd be a single Dundee United supporter out there that wouldn't have snapped a hand off you at that time. So, you know, we have to be realistic about the situation. We know, we know we're in a relegation dogfight.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. I agree with Ruffy. I think that the marketing team have played a blinder here. You know, £10 and £5 for kids to get in.
Yep. It's
ensured there's going to be a sellout there, 11,000 plus Dundee United fans. And that is going to make a massive difference. It really is. You know, that home support behind you, you know, rolling you on, and I think they'll just edge it. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Dundee United.
Gives them a 4-point cushion if they do that.
Yeah.
I've got 2-1 Dundee United.
Yeah, I think I went 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah. So just a slight difference there, Ruffy. That might be a difference
he made
in the
me
points.
go first.
Yeah. Ruffy's saying that as if it's a disgrace.
Such a cheat.
Yeah, there's a trophy at stake here.
Yeah.
Win at all costs.
Yeah,
I hope the last weekend we're doing it. It's all sent to Cheryl and privately.
It's a total secret.
Disgrace.
It's a total secret. Just out of curiosity, and I don't know if you agree with this, I'm just throwing it out there, okay? It's been a week of just throwing something out there, and every now and then the incendiary device goes off. But should we make the last games double points? I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, because I
think it would make it more exciting. Ruffy's in the lead, so obviously
it's so tight.
Ruffy might not be in the lead by the last game.
Well, exactly. That's
so you're going to agree to it now?
That's not bothering me, no.
Double points?
Aye. No, because I know where the bits of paper go.
Yeah. But,
we can't even last anyway.
Do you want to go double points?
Aye, no.
Double points last weekend of the season, yes.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
I'll send my predictions in next Saturday from the golf course in Spain.
Brilliant. Roll on.
Have a look at them before I do mine.
Yes. Ross County, I mean, apart from anything else, you know, I always thought Malky was going to get down to the wire. When you look at the table, it's 1 point. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody's going to be disappointed here. I don't think Malky will look and thinking a draw. I think they've got to be positive and go and take the game to United.
Yeah, they have. You know, and the only thing that's to his advantage is with Dundee United having that big a crowd. If they were to go ahead, the pressure's on Dundee United. That Dundee United support will turn very, very quickly if Ross County look as if they're going to win that game. So it'll be up to the Dundee United players to see if they can handle that situation. I think that's just why they have to win that game.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, Hugh Scott has sent us a message, and I don't know if this should influence our decision here, Tam, but he says, no, Peter, you can't change the rules halfway through. That would be like introducing VAR halfway through a season. Oh. Yeah, Hugh, under normal circumstances, but listen, there's a big trophy in there, and it's a belter, Tam. And for the
better than the wee Snyder that you gave Arsenal last year.
Yeah, exactly. That was
one of my tennis trophies. I just knocked the tennis thing off.
It's shocking. Honestly, it must have worth about £3.
I know, but Alison, it's the first award she's ever won, so she was absolutely delighted with it. But this year it's a big trophy, Ruffy, and of course I think we're getting ever closer to Hugh McDonald taking us out on the big night out. Really looking forward to it.
He'll be over the moon. He'll be over the moon with double points.
Yeah, 2-1 by the way, so what did you go?
I think 2-0.
Okay. St Johnstone against Motherwell.
This is where we'll get them.
Well,
this is where we'll catch them.
I think so. It's an interesting one because St Johnstone got the win, and now 6 points clear of second bottom Kilmarnock. I think that result last week is the one that saves them for another season in the Premiership.
I think this is the one that saves them. This is the one. This is the home game that if they win it, they can relax, and that's why I think they'll go all guns blazing, you know, to win this game. I know Van Veen scoring here and scoring there, but I just think home advantage and everything's at stake. I think I've went for St Johnstone to win.
Yeah, St Johnstone have earned 20 of their 36 league points away from home this season. They can't play in front of their own fans. This is
where we'll get them, and I think St Johnstone over the last couple of weeks have been lucky. The oppositions went down to 10 men. The red card for Jago for Hibs got rescinded, and then dodgy one last week in my opinion as well. So I think they've been fortunate the last couple of weeks. If Motherwell can keep 11 men in the park, I can only see one winner. I think Van Veen will score. I'm going to go for 2-1 to the Well.
Yes, I've got 2-1 to the Well. What have you got?
I've got St Johnstone, but I can't remember what I went.
Yeah.
I definitely went St Johnstone.
Yeah, you definitely went St Johnstone.
2-1, I think.
Okay, it's St Johnstone 2, Motherwell 1 for you, Ruffy. So that's where the twist is coming for the top of the table for the big switch. As far as Motherwell are concerned, convincing winners over Kelly last weekend. Stuart Kettlewell has been really kind of fending off all the questions about Kevin Van Veen this week because he's in the running for Player of the Year, and he's one of those players that's hit a barrel of goals, 25. He's becoming that iconic number 9 for Motherwell, and I think Stuart Kettlewell was keen to highlight the fact that over the years there's been more than a few number 9s to remember.
I always associate Motherwell with having a kind of iconic number 9. You know, I look through time, the last person to be up for this award that we're speaking about, the PFA, was Michael Higdon. You guys like Sutton that had good stints here. You can go all the way back to days Willie Pettigrew and all that. I always associate Motherwell with having a proper number 9, Tommy Coyne, these types. Do you know what I mean? They always have had guys that can put the ball in the back of the net. And I like the fact that Kevin's the next one on that kind of conveyor belt for this football club. But all those people we speak about have been icons and are icons of this football club.
Number 9s. I'm glad he mentioned Willie Pettigrew, but I always remember Bobby Graham. Do you remember
them? Yeah. Little and large. Yeah. Two of them worked together very well, and he's right. And I think Michael Hidden went abroad, didn't he? With his move.
Yeah.
Did he go abroad to Holland or something?
I think it was NEC Nijmegen. I think it was
something like that. So
yeah.
my worry sometimes with a striker like Van Veen is it's not a one season wonder. But
I know you've mentioned that.
No, you score 25 goals one season and the next season you dry up.
It's a few from last season, his numbers overall for Motherwell are good.
But I'm thinking you're saying, Aberdeen would do well at Aberdeen, he'd do well at Hibs, he'd do well here. I'm just wondering if he would score 20. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, but it's just.
Where do you think he would be best suited if he's not going to stay at Motherwell? I don't think he will. And Stuart Kettlewell seems to think that, unless they're asking stupid money, he doesn't see him being in Scotland.
Well, what is stupid money? We've not got Charlie here, so we're up against it.
Charlie's coming in Sunday, by the way.
They're not going to get stupid money from Peter.
No.
They're not going to get. He's nearly 32, he's got a year left in his contract. I think that Motherwell, if they got offered 500 or 600 grand in the summer, they would take it, because it's 6 months away if you go on a free. You know, so I think not Celtic, no, Rangers possibly, but I think Aberdeen, Hearts and Hibs would all be in for him.
Yeah.
I think they would look at that and go 500 grand. Yep, I'd sign them for that.
11 goals the season before, 25 this season.
That's what I mean, you know,
So 36 goals in 2 seasons for Motherwell.
Yeah.
You're not happy with that, Ruffy?
But again, not knocking our league, not knocking the teams in our league, you know, but I keep looking at myself and saying, if he goes to another league, say an English Championship league, would he score 25 goals?
Well, if they can, listen, if Aberdeen can keep Miofsky and Duke, I think Van Veen, if they could somehow push the board out.
Hibs are going to sell Nisbet. Why would Hibs not sell Nisbet for 2 million and buy him for 500 or 600 grand?
I noticed you put that in your column.
I think Hibs will be interested in him.
You got a column?
Yeah, he's got a column in the Daily Record.
The Daily Record today, it's available online.
To be fair,
every week.
To be fair, by the way, if you get past page 5, you can see the column that Tam writes in there.
Columns before that?
Eh?
So 4 people doing columns.
There's 4 biggies, and then
it's the most popular column in the Daily Record.
Is that right?
Barry Ferguson and Chris Sutton. Yes.
Whatever happened? Your view?
Yeah. It's not exactly difficult, is it? I mean, to be honest with you. Anyway,
they both write theirs in crayon as well.
Yeah. Oh, you.
You're going out the country, aren't you?
I know. It's usually me that's battering the two of them, but you, that's a big turn up. Anyway, good column, Tam, and of course Baz and Sutty, their columns as well, equally eye-catching. And let's grovel and move on to Kilmarnock, Livingston. Okay, Kelly.
Got to win it.
Got to win it. It's just a must, isn't it?
I think if you'd said to Derek McInnes about 4 or 5 weeks ago when the split came, you're going to have 3-year games at home, you know, and now there's only 4 left, and that's the 3. You know, they've got to win this. You know, if again like Dundee United, if you don't win these kind of games, then your fans tend to turn on you. They really. It'd be hard for the players as well. I was impressed with them a wee bit, you know, up front. I think they've got goals in them, but they've got to win this one, and they've got the right game to win it against, because they've already discussed that we think Livingston the season's finished for them. So I think I've went Kilmarnock 2-0.
Yeah, you have actually. Tam, where are you going with this one? Because I'll tell you, although David Martindale has painted quite a dismal picture of certain aspects of what he's battling against to try and build a team there for next season and look towards trying to get players in. You know, some people are looking and thinking, well, you know, is there a job in the summer coming up that maybe David Martindale will get a fresh start? But right now he's got to deal with the here and now and get something out of Livingston for the fans who've paid good money to see them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for David to keep motivating them towards the end of the season. As I said, they've nothing to play for. They've got lots of players out of contract, wondering about their future. So I would fancy Kilmarnock strongly in this game. I think they've got to win the game, and I think they couldn't have got Livingston at a better time at home. Kilmarnock have been excellent at home this season. I think they'll win the game, and you know, as I said, I think that Livingston, you know, subconsciously they're looking ahead to next season as a manager. So I'm going to go for 2-1 to Kilmarnock.
Yeah, I think this is going to be. What did you go for, Ruffy?
2-0.
2-0. I think it's going to be one of those changes in it, and I'm taking a wee gamble here. I'm going Kelly 1, Livingston 1. Mm-hmm. But that won't be any good to Kelly, by the way.
No.
I still think they're going to. I think they're going to be bottom with Ross County playoff. I'm sticking to my guns, Ruffy. Are you changing?
No, Kilmarnock and Ross County will be the 2 that I think will be down there.
And you?
Depends on Dundee United if they win tomorrow.
Okay, you're going to hang fire.
I'm going to hang fire. But
Okay,
I think Ross County will get relegated.
Drop us a text from your holiday destination.
Still wouldn't rule out St Johnstone in the playoffs.
Yeah. St Mirren against Hearts. Well, let's find out what was happening at the St Mirren camp with Kerry Pollock.
This weekend, St Mirren take on Hearts at the Smiza Stadium, and this game is what Stephen Robinson described as the biggest game of the club season, and they have to be at their best if they want to be within any chances of achieving European football.
Yeah, I usually play everything down. So yeah, it is must win. It is because, listen, we were 2-0 down at half time. We were absolutely brilliant. We played with a team with no fear. We didn't overthink things. And that's the way we have to play for 96-7 minutes tomorrow. We have to play as if we're 1-0 down. We have to play without fear. I'll put out an attacking team, as attacking as we can do, obviously within our injury situations with strikers. But we've absolutely nothing to lose. There's no expectation for us to get this far. And I've told the boys, we've got our praise for top 6 now. So we've enjoyed that. Let's go and get more praise. Let's get the recognition the players deserve by trying to get into Europe, and 100% must win.
Stephen Robinson has been nominated for Manager of the Year alongside Ange Postecoglou, James McPake and Darren Young. And Saints defender Ryan Strain says after all the club's achieved this season, his manager is certainly deserving of being on that list.
You know, the gaffer's done really well. You know, he's put trust in all the boys and we've put trust in him, and you know, he's a great manager and probably one of the best I've had in my career, because you know, he's put a lot of trust in me this year, and he's let me go out there and just play my game, and so hopefully we can get Europe for him as well.
It was a 2-0 win for St Mirren the last time these two met in Gorgie, but can the new Jambos interim boss Stephen Naismith put a dampener on St Mirren's European dreams? It all takes place in Paisley. Kick-off is at 3 o'clock.
Well, I know you're not happy with him being a nominee for Manager of the Year, Stephen Robinson, but I am, because quite simply, with a man who's had his budget cut and suddenly gets St Mirren into the top 6, and some of the football that they've played, I think, has been a joy. I've enjoyed watching St Mirren. I've gone to see them on more than a few occasions. It is a must-win game. I like his attitude to it, because Hearts and Aberdeen are their best hopes of getting something. If he got 4 points from that, I wonder if it would be enough to get European football, because Celtic and Rangers are his other 2 remaining games.
Yeah, I think they've got to win this game. I think that's clear from Stephen Robinson there. They've got to win this game. You know, they've got tougher games coming up against the Old Firm. So, you know, they've been excellent at home this season. I think Hearts, you know, need to go there and get something out of the game as well. So I think it will set up for an open game. You know, I think that both teams will try and attack. They both need 3 points. Hearts want to finish above Hibs, you know, and push Aberdeen. So, but I'd fancy Hearts in this game. I was quite impressed with Hearts last week and against Ross County. The last 2 games, up until the sending off of the Cochrane last week, I thought they were a better team against Celtic. I think they're playing more on the front foot. They're more direct. They're getting balls in the box. They're creating chances. So I'm going to go for Hearts to win this 2-1.
Yeah, 1 win in the last 8 games. That was against Ross County, Ruffy. That's Hearts. Mm-hmm. As far as St Mirren are concerned, it's no wins in the last 3 defeats. So something's got to give with these two. What are you going for? I've got St Mirren to win 2-1, Ruffy. I'm sticking my head out here, because I think we're now at that point where we've got to get a 5-pointer. There's got to be a swing somewhere. So I'm making my go here, but I sense from you, because you're not only a cheat, but you've got no bravery whatsoever. You're going for
I think St Mirren have done well against Hearts this year. I do. I think any time I've seen the games, they've not been running over the top of, and they're particularly good at home. So I think I've sat in the fence in this one.
His favourite phrase.
Oh yeah,
I've sat in the fence 1-1. He says it at least twice every weekend.
5 points. It's 5 points.
What did you make of Stephen Naismith saying that he didn't appeal Alex Cochrane's red card because he didn't want to get an extra game ban?
Well, he's just throwing that in there, doesn't he? I think that's just an excuse. You know, he knows it's a sending off, so why waste £1,000?
Yeah.
Just to throw in a statement.
Would you want it? No. So what are you going for, a draw?
1-1.
Okay, I've got St Mirren 2-1.
2-1 Hearts. They've all went the different
swing. This is it. We're down to the real nitty gritty on that. Give us your thoughts on it as well. How you think it's going to go? And one of them says Hearts will take a drubbing. Well, we will see. The Jambos certainly will be going to the Smeets Stadium, hoping to get the points and make sure that Hibs. Can you imagine it goes down to the wire? It would be unbelievable.
I hope it does. I think it'd be great for the league, even though it's not going to be on the TV. Bizarrely, I think it'd be great if it came down to that game and maybe Hearts were sitting in, or maybe a point ahead of Hibs or vice versa, and it was all down to that game to see who get 4th place and probably European football. I think it'd be great.
Just a couple of things before we finish, guys. MSPs have urged the SFA to reconsider the decision to move the Scottish Cup Final.
Waste of time.
Not going to happen?
No.
Is that just posturing out there? And
just as an MP or an MSP making a point for her constituency.
Yeah. Okay, so just a nice wee sound bite, but nothing.
Too late.
Yeah, I'll agree with Ruffy.
Too late.
Okay. What about last night? Fran Alonso, certainly you can tell the passion is there now, and what a crowd for Celtic winning 3-1 over Glasgow City. That league this season, if you are asking the girls to get great PR, they're under the umbrella of the PFA Scotland. They'll be there at the weekend for the Player of the Year and the Young Player of the Year in women's sport. And in Scotland, you can't ask for any more than crowds turning out now, and it's going down to the wire and it's close.
Yep, but first and foremost, the game last night, the atmosphere was terrific. I think for a women's game, the crowd was incredible. I think it was a good standard of game as well. Some good goals in there. Celtic went behind first half, come back and won. Scored 3 goals in front of that large contingent of Celtic supporters. You've seen the celebrations at the end from the manager and the players. Thought it was a great advert for women's football. I had a little look at the fixtures just after that. And I think there's 2 points. Glasgow City are 2 points ahead of Rangers and Celtic.
Yep.
I think that Rangers have still to play Glasgow City. I think Celtic could come through and nick this. They've got Hearts and Hibs, and I think they'll take 6 points from that. So they'll be hoping that Rangers probably beat or draw against Glasgow City, and they can maybe nick in. So it's all to play for. It's a really, really exciting end to the season. But Celtic had to win it last night to keep it alive, and they've done that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good end to it. And of course, over and above that, we're now in a situation, Celtic and Rangers Hampden final as well. The VAR will be used.
You said there's going to be what, 40,000 there?
Well, of course. Listen, I'd
Did you say 20,000 plus? You said, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd love to see a huge crowd.
Well, there was 9,000 there last night. Yeah. I think that's a good gauge for you.
Here's my look if it was right and everybody turns up. Just having a look at you two, nothing. Ruffy, what about tonight? Thistle 4-3. Can they hold on?
If they score the first goal, yep, I would think it would be on. That Queen's Park have something to say about that. But it's going to be tight, it's going to be tense, a lot at stake. And obviously I'm a bit biased, so let's hope Partick Thistle win it.
Yeah, you think they're going to edge it?
I agree with that. One of the Jags. I think there'll be goals in it again. I just can't see. I can't see an own Coyle team sitting back and trying to defend. He's never done that in his career. I think he'll go and attack again. They'll just hope they can defend better. But I think there's been so many goals between the teams this season. I think it's going to be another exciting game, and I'm going to go for 5-4 Partick Thistle.
Okay. Gary Boyer saddened that he didn't get a chance to lead Dundee. Were you happy with the way that was handled?
I don't think the Dundee fans are happy, gauging from social media and guys I've spoke to up there. I think that they are disappointed that he's left, but there's clearly something amiss between either him and Nelms or him and Strachan. I think you've seen
him and Nelms.
Yeah, well, he didn't give Gordon Strachan a mention in his farewell statement from the LMA, which was probably telling as well. So there's something no right between the three of them, put it that way. So he's left. I think he'll end up probably the Blackpool manager, and Dundee have got a bit big shoes to fit. But Callum Davison linked, he could be one. Robbie Nielsen. I don't think Neil Lennon would take it. David Martindale, who I was tipping the other night for it. I think it'll end up being Callum Davison, if I'm being perfectly honest. I don't think Dundee fans are too enamoured with that either.
Yeah, okay.
Did he win the manager of the championship?
Yeah. There you are.
He's gone mad.
As soon as you get it, you get billeted. Scotland have announced an October friendly against World Cup finalist France. That's a good one. That's a good friendly. I think a lot of people will get into that one, and certainly,
particularly if you get 2 tickets for every game, it's one you don't have to worry about. It'll come through the post.
Away games as well.
Home games.
Yeah, okay. Just a quick one. What do you make of West Ham last night, Ruffy?
They
done well coming back. I thought when they scored first, I went, oh no, here we go. Still tight, isn't it? That you would hope that you can go away there and see it through. It'd be great if you go to the final.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the English Premier League fixtures for the weekend if you're looking forward to it. It's Leeds against Newcastle, Southampton, Fulham, Chelsea take on Nottingham Forest, Villa against Tottenham, Man United, Wolves, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Everton, Man City is an absolute belter. Brentford, West Ham, Arsenal against Brighton, and Leicester against Liverpool. And interestingly enough, I know Sam Allardyce was talking about it. It's a bugbear of mine. It's players wasting time, and this is Sam's take on it.
We've all been talking about ball in play more than we've talked about time wasting, or whether ball in play is or can be improved. But the game is ferocious and quick enough as it is. Players' fatigue and players' injuries and players' resources are strained more than ever before. So if you speed the game up even more and you increase the level of time they're on the pitch even more in running out, you're going to get more and more injuries and more crippling injuries than you've ever got, because it's never been as quick as it is now.
Okay, it might be a quick sport, Tam, but the players are working out ways to cheat even more, and if you just stop that clock, it'll finish it forever.
Peter, every single team in world football in every league, when they're winning, going into the last 5 minutes, take their time and time waste.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't understand why people are moaning about it now. You know, every single team when you're winning, you're wasting time. You're taking it in the corner flag, you're getting your substitute to go to the other side of the park, and then you're taking them off, you've got to walk across the pitch, all these little things, goalkeeper taking his time. It's happened from day one, and probably since football was invented, and it will continue forever.
Okay, weekend quiz.
What was it?
What was the question? Who was the last manager out with the top 2 tiers to win the PFA Manager of the Year? And the answer was
Johnson.
I said Dick
Alan
Campbell.
Johnson of Queen of the South, who picked up the award. And there you are.
Talking about me, Gene.
Hey, of course. I know, he reads it. That's why sometimes I'm moving about.
Yes.
Listen, I'll tell you even better than that. Sometimes we have an opinion and then he fires it back out and then gets his head and his chest out as if suddenly he's had a thought in his brain.
He's in holiday mode.
Of course,
This is my
holiday
last day. Just I won't be here next week to the viewers.
Yeah.
The figures
So,
will go up
still,
next
still,
week.
please.
Figures will go mental next week.
Please still tune in. Please still tune in.
He's looking
I know
there,
I'm not on the major.
saying, this is my last week, speaking to the viewers. You know, Ruffy, you're in.
Yeah.
You're back in on the Saturday. It's going to be a great Saturday. Don't miss it. 4 o'clock, we'll be there with the half-time and full-time reports from our reporters out at all the Scottish Premiership games. And over and above that, let's not forget Tam and Ruffy. At 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, Kerry Pollock and that Saturday football show will preview the games in greater detail, and of course they have the quiz as well. So join us if you can. PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell for all the notifications that will come through when we've got even more content coming out. Hopefully you've enjoyed this week. It's been an interesting one. If you're going to a football match, go to it, enjoy it. Keep yourself safe. It's only a game of football, and we will discuss in detail tomorrow, and we'll have managers and players' reactions from Rangers against Celtic, the final league game between the two. So 4 o'clock tomorrow on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. From Ruffy, Tam, who's on holiday, have a great time, Tam. From myself, Peter Martin, thanks for watching.
Get the chinos off.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with you.